Hey everyone, Luke with Guardian Fleet Safety. Thanks for watching this video today. We're going to be looking at the all-new 2024 F-150 Police Responder. So there's a lot of new things on this 2024. The first thing that's going to pop out to you probably the most here is the new front end. It has the redesigned front end just like the civilian model trucks. And one of the really cool things that Ford did this year is everything up front is LED. So our parking lights, which also override to the turn signals, our low beams, our high beams, and our fog lights are all LED. So all the incandescent bulbs are no longer around for those. So that's a really nice upgrade in both brightness and just getting with the times and the technology that's out there for modern vehicles. The Ford factory fog lights on this truck are on this specific unit with our state contract pricing here in Minnesota, come in at about $132. Now something to note is, while this is a nice addition, you as a customer have to keep in mind if you're going to be adding any type of fender wrap or pit wrap to this vehicle, most likely these are going to be obstructed and have to be removed, or at the very least aren't really going to be functional. So just keep that in mind when you're ordering the vehicle. Now here at the back of the truck, we have LED reverse bulbs, which are the only LEDs in the back. So for the running lights and the brake lights, it still retains that incandescent bulb. And up there on the third brake light in the middle, you have an incandescent bulb, as well as the bed lights are incandescent bulbs. Furthermore, the license plate lights down here are incandescent bulbs. So where we see all LED up front, almost everything in the back is still halogen incandescent. So here at the back end, one thing that I wanted to show you is with this police responder, if you get the optional fobs, which comes with 4 fobs, when you lock and unlock the vehicle, you're not going to activate any lights or anything, any factory lights. This truck also comes standard now with dark car. For those of you that don't know what dark car is, basically locking and unlocking the car, opening the car doors, you're not going to have dome lights or these type of lights coming on and off anymore. So you can see when I'm locking, it's not honking the horn. No matter how many times I push the lock button, it's not going to honk the horn. It's not going to flash the lights. Obviously, it's a police car. You don't want it to do that. Lockable tailgate. Unlock the truck. Pretty basic Ford F-150 stuff right here, right now. One cool thing that they did add for 2024 is you have these little storage cubbies on both sides. Obviously, this is the passenger side. Can't see the driver's side. It's got the exact same one. There's not a ton of room in there. I don't know what you're really going to stick in there. It's certainly not waterproof, but I guess if you had a little something, you could throw it in there. It's a freebie. Who cares? Then on the tailgate, we still have our large Ford emblem. We do have this embossed F-150 into the tailgate. So again, if you're thinking about chevrons or, decals on the tailgate, keep that in mind. Make sure that your decal vendor is able to work around these, because this is going to require some decent tucking and stretching and stuff to get around that F-150 emblem. You have some parking sensors back here. Obviously, you have your trailer hookups. Nothing special there. Your key to drop the spare tire. Has a full-size spare tire, of course. It's a truck. You got your hitch. That's all standard stuff. And then, of course, your police responder badging right from the factory there. So the 2024 F-150 Police Responder is badged as an XL, and it basically has the police responder package added to it, okay? These are only able to be ordered by a government entity. At the time of shooting this video, April 28th, 2024, the order bank for these closed last week. So even though we're just now finally getting our hands on the first ones, they're already closed to be ordered. But we expect the changes that are made for this to be consistent with the 2025, 26, and most likely 2027 F-150 models. Again, they're going to follow any changes that are made on the civilian side. But typically Ford is good for 3 to 4 years on their trucks before they mess up the stuff again. So what we're looking at here should apply for the next couple years. So some of the things that you get with the police responder package is obviously the standard steel black rims. You can still get the other ones as an option. We'll go over that in a little bit. Now, you're also, the biggest thing obviously is that you're getting the pursuit rating, okay? And pursuit rating is a little bit of a loose term. There's not a defined term for that, but essentially you're getting a stiffer suspension with the vehicle that helps you navigate movement at high speeds. You know, if you just went and took some civilian truck and tried to go do some police maneuvering, you're going to run into trouble. So these are specifically designed to handle the high speeds of police work. Top speed on this truck is 120 miles per hour, so it is pretty quick. Unless you're working out in, you know, West Texas on the flats or something, you probably don't need to be going much faster than that, but it'll keep up with just about anything. So let's talk about the police responder package. Only comes one way, okay? There are a handful of options, but for the most part, you can only order this truck one specific way, and that is crew cab with the 5.5 foot box, 4-wheel drive with the EcoBoost twin turbo V6 engine. So you can't get a 6.5 foot, you can't get an extended cab if you wanted that, or any of that stuff. This is the only way it comes. So if you need something more, if you want the V8 engine or a longer box or something like that, you're going to have to look at one of the other fleet models. Now, what I would caution some agencies is truly evaluate your needs, because liability-wise, this is pursuit rated. It's made to handle high speeds. The other ones are not. And also, you have to today in Joe Biden's America, where things are really expensive and the lead times are atrocious on vehicles, you have to consider allocations. And what I mean by that is Ford might say, hey, we're going to build not giving out fake numbers here, but we're going to build 100,000 F-150s this year. And 50,000 of those are going to be fleet models, right? So that's public works, that's contractors, that's, your cable accessory truck, whatever you can come up with. But we're going to build 15,000 police responders. So if you need a pickup, but you're not ordering the police responder, if you go and order a fleet truck, you're now competing with every Tom, Dick, and Harry, as well as all of these private contractors and companies and all kinds of stuff for a very small number of trucks, versus ordering a police responder where only government agencies can order these. You're probably going to get this faster and most likely get your allocation of this truck and not worry about your order being canceled, which we've seen a ton of from all the big three the last couple of years. It's been a joke. The other thing is, when you're ordering one of these trucks, it's very important that you either order on your state contract, or if you really want to use your local dealer, or your cousin's buddy is a sales guy up at whatever, make sure that the vehicle's actually getting ordered. Because one of the problems that we've seen is, because allocations are being so restricted, that some dealerships will take an order in and they'll sit on it for 6 months to a year until they have an allocation, and then they will submit the order for the vehicle. And then that just means it's delaying your vehicle coming in longer and longer. So always make sure when you order a vehicle from any dealership that they actually have allocations to submit into Ford to order a vehicle, and that once they order it, make sure that you actually get an order confirmation from the dealer. Do not just take their word on it. Now, it's one thing if the order bank has not opened yet. So you could pre-order a truck and let's say, hey, May 1st, the order bank opens, we will order your truck. But if they're saying, hey, yeah, I can order that truck or whatever, and they actually don't have allocations or the order bank's not open, and they're just going to sit on it for an entire year until the next order bank opens up, that's bad news. So make sure you get an order confirmation, just like Amazon. When you order something, you get your email that says, hey, you actually ordered this and it's confirmed. Make sure you're getting that from your dealer too. If you're working with a legitimate fleet dealer, that's not going to be a problem. But we have seen some agencies get really burned the last couple of years using their small town local dealership or whatever the deal is, where they were being less than truthful on actually getting the vehicle ordered, and then tried to blame it on Ford when it really wasn't a Ford issue. It was the dealership never had the allocations. Okay, I digress. I'm off the soapbox now. Some other things that used to be optional that you're getting now standard with this truck are things like lane departure warnings, BLIS, which is blind spot monitoring. You're getting your police perimeter detection. You are getting your backup warning. You're getting the ignition override, so you're able to take the key out of the ignition, keep the vehicle running without somebody being able to jump in and steal it. You're getting that huge 12-inch display and some other items like that that used to be optional that's now standard. Now, that's great. We appreciate Ford doing that. But unfortunately, what that did was just make the vehicle cost a whole lot more. So this vehicle window sticker on this is around $55,000. Our state contract price here in Minnesota for this truck came in at, around $45,000. So you can see that the truck is significantly more expensive than even just a couple years ago ordering one of the responders. So please make sure, if you're looking into 2025 budgeting, or even for the rest of this year, that you know what these vehicles cost and you know what your upfitter is going to cost and that type of stuff, and budget appropriately, because even just a couple years ago, it's costing probably a couple $1,000s more per vehicle than just a couple years ago, based on all the inflation and the price hikes that we as upfitters are getting hit with. Another thing that's new for 2024 that you're only going to see on the police responder version of this truck is this standard mounting plate. So obviously all the other police cars for the most part come with this. It's essentially just a big plate that you can mount stuff to. Has 4 18 millimeter bolts that hold it in. I've taken those bolts out already, and I'll pop this off to show you. In years past, this has just been an empty area. There is no option to order a center seat with the F-150 responder. So if you're ordering this truck too, keep in mind that this is how it's going to come. What you're seeing right here is the only way that it comes, with basically the steel plate in between the seats. So take those 4 bolts out, and this simply just pops off, and you can see how big this is. This is a giant plate. Now, if you're using a vehicle-specific console in these, you would just pop that plate out, and then you would just mount it same as usual. The mounting plates, mounting points for this console are no different than years past. So it's going to fit up there just like other ones. Havas makes a really good vehicle-specific center console for this. That's what we would recommend if you're looking for a suggestion. Hands down, Havas makes the best center console for this F-150, and that would obviously, you'd take that base plate off and mount that in as a vehicle-specific one. But if you don't want a vehicle-specific one, you can just get a generic console and basically just bolt it right to this and roll with it that way. Not much to see here in the back seat. It's basically the same as years prior. You got your vinyl floor, you got your vinyl seats. It flips up, it flips down. It's got all the options. We still have our 80 amp master power back here that comes off from up front. So for those of you that aren't running your own power cables, you do have 80 amps at the back. Other than that, not much has changed since years prior. Another standard option is what Ford calls the backseat intrusion plates. And essentially what that is just a big steel plate mounted on the back of the driver's seat and the front passenger seat. And it prevents you from getting stabbed. So hypothetically, if you didn't have a partition and you had somebody in your back seat that had a giant knife because you didn't search them and they wanted to stab you through the seat instead of just across the neck or something, they wouldn't be able to do that. So I guess in that situation, it's a perk. So probably one of the biggest exciting things about the new 2024 F-150 as far as an upfitter goes, but also one of the most disappointing, is Ford's new upfitter integration module that's now standard on the F-150 police responder. It's a module that's been out for a number of years, typically in the Super Duty chassis, so your snow plows, your ambulances, stuff like that. But it's basically a module that you can program, and it takes your CAN bus inputs and outputs and converts those into analog, or basically hot and ground signals that you can then wire into your police siren you know, to get your park kill, your ignition, your door opens, all that stuff that we were having to basically find and grab before, you know, they're now giving you that module. The downside to that is that you need a Ford Pro account, which is basically a commercial Ford account, to even access the software to program that.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
You know, and you're gonna have to document what that is, and so it's something that's a powerful tool, but your average mom and pop upfit shops are probably going to have a little bit of a trouble utilizing that. Now, again, at the time of shooting this video in, you know, end of April 2024, that's where it sits. There might be enough pushback from the upfitting community where Ford makes that a little bit easier to access that software than simply making us have an account and, you know, jumping through the hoops of what's involved in that. But in any event, so in your glove box when you get this truck, you're going to have basically a plug-in harness. Those wires are all dead though. They're not doing anything until you've programmed that module. So that module is located behind the back seat here. Now, again, a little frustrating because we still do not have a handle. For those of you that know anything about the F-150 or any Super Duty or F-Series truck, is you can fold down the passenger side 40 part of the seat, but the 60 part of the seat here folds down, but they don't give you a handle. You have to reach back there and lift up this awkward little piece of metal to fold the seat down. And so I would highly recommend going on Amazon or eBay and buying one of those aftermarket handle kits. They're like $7 and they're amazing. So anyways, once you pop that open here, this seat simply folds down like so. Oops. This headrest out of here. And then right here is that module. Here is the harness that it's going to come with. So you can see you have plenty of wires you can do. I think they said something like 115, 120 different CAN bus signals that you can grab onto and then turn into analog. So very useful. It's just going to be cumbersome for upfitters to, you know, program this, document what these are, troubleshoot when they're not working correctly. You know, it's one of those thanks, but, you know, we would have liked to just see what we have in the PIU, but again, we're not going to get that. This is what Ford is going to, this type of system. So that's where it plugs in there. A note to the agencies that if your upfitter is going to use this, expect that they may add on some extra labor time to upfit the car, having to navigate this. So just anticipate that, because this might be a little bit of a bear to work through, especially on the first couple. But anyways, that's where that module is. Again, we really hope that Ford watches this video at some point and throws us a bone and makes that software easier to get, because the purpose of having, you know, an upfitter module in here is that the upfitters can actually even access it and utilize it. And as it sits right now, it's quite difficult for you know, somebody decides a mainstream, you know, large upfitting company to have the resources to navigate all of that. So we hope that that changes in the future, but as of right now, that's what we're stuck with. Now, in the Ford upfitter guide, it does show you on these trucks where to grab ignition and some of these other signals. Now, they're very few that it tells you. A note, again, at the time of shooting this video, the 2024 Ford Police Interceptor, Ford Responder F-150 Upfitter Guide has been published, but it's published under the F-150s, not the police vehicles. So again, Ford, if you're watching, you got to move that to police vehicles because nobody can find it. So we were able to find it, but it took us a couple hours of searching to finally track it down. So if you want the Upfitter Guide, which has some information, but overall is extremely basic and more geared toward, like, again, snow plows and other stuff, but there is an upfitter guide. It is nowhere close to what the utility one is, but there is a guide. You need to go to the body modifiers website for Ford, and you need to look under the F-150 and then find it under the F-150s. You're not going to find it if you go searching for police vehicle upfitter guides, even though all the other police cars are listed there. So again, I'm not a vehicle manufacturer. I'm just a disgruntled ex-cop that owns an upfitting business. So I can't make smart decisions like that, but it seems like somebody should do that. So okay, I got my trusty list here of the options for these trucks. Like I said, they're pretty minimal, but let's go through each one of them and just explain it so there's no confusion on your end as a customer exactly what you're getting. So some of these I'm going to show you some. There's no point in showing you. They're pretty self-explanatory. The 18-inch aluminum wheels, that is basically what you had in years prior to 2024 on the Responder trucks. It's just a alloy wheel that looks like a civilian rim. So again, the steel rims are standard. That's an option. Our state contract pricing, which again, that pertains to Minnesota only, is going to change for 2025. Every state is different, so when I give you these prices, don't go to your dealer and beat them up over that. That is just what our pricing is to give you a point of reference. $442 if you wanted to upgrade this to basically look like a civilian-style truck. And that's option number 6.4 H's and Henry. Next option is the backup alarm system. That is option number 8.5 Henry, and that's $119. I don't know why you'd want that on a police responder truck. We've actually had some that have been ordered with it, and we just unplug them. It's just a backup alarm. It's loud and annoying, and I'm not sure why you would need it for one of these, but if you do, it's an option. Option number 41A as in Adam is a no charge, basically deletes the rear police responder badge in the back. Again, if you want that, order it or take the 15 seconds to just peel it off yourself. It's an option. The black running boards that you see on here, these are factory. These are going to run $232, and that is option number 18B as in boy. If you want something a little more aggressive, I would maybe consider aftermarket. These are a really good running board. I like them. The price point is not bad. But some agencies that deal with ice and snow and some of that type of stuff, these plastic running boards can get slippery in the winter conditions. So that would be my only caution is just consider a possible aftermarket option that has some real aggressive tread on it. So when you're stepping up into these in the winter and that's all ice and frozen, you're not slipping around. The power rear sliding window is an option. That is option number 435, and it's approximately $420. Again, I don't know exactly why you'd want that in a police car, but if you want it, where you can have the center part of the window, open and close from the control switch up top, it's an option. If you want front and rear chrome bumpers, that is going to be option 17C as in Charles, and that's $164 approximately. And that is going to require you to order it with fog lamps, because essentially you're getting civilian bumpers at that point. The Super Puddle Light is $164. That's option number 59 S as in Sam, and that basically just gives you those super bright puddle lights like you see on a lot of the civilian trucks, underneath here when you open the doors. I do not know if you have those. There is a button to turn them on and off. I doubt with police dark car being standard on this truck that when you open the doors, those are going to turn on. I obviously this truck doesn't have it. I can't test that, but I would assume those probably are not going to come on with the door open. So if you're ordering it for that reason, just know you might have to shut off dark car or just skip that option. The daytime running lights on this truck, you can turn them on and off. If you want to remove the ability to turn them on and off, you can order option number 942, and that's a $41 option, and basically that just prevents the officer from turning off the daytime running lights if they don't want them on. Engine block heater for us up here in the frozen tundra of the north, that's a staple of our vehicle diet. 41 H's in Henry, an $82 option. Again, just gives you the plug and the heater for the engine to keep it nice and warm. Your fog lights that I showed you earlier, that's option number 595, and those are approximately $132. And again, just remember what I had said before, if you're doing fender wraps or pit wraps, those may be obstructed, so connect with your upfitter and make sure that you know what's up before you go ahead and order that option, because we've had a lot of trucks order that, and the vast majority of the time we end up actually just taking them out and putting plates in there where the brackets need to go and all that. So they're basically, it's just wasted money is really all it is. You can get a carpet interior here, and that is option number 168, and that's $138, and that basically just gives you carpet in the truck instead of the rubber floors, which or vinyl floors, sorry, which is standard. Front license plate bracket is not a charge. It's option number 153. So if you're in a state that runs a front plate, you just order that option. The integrated trailer brake controller, that's option 67T as in Tom, and that's approximately $255. So again, if you're on a water patrol unit or again, maybe a mounted patrol where you're pulling a horse trailer, a smaller one, something like that, and you need an integrated trailer brake, it is an option. There is a interior upgrade package that you can purchase on this vehicle. Now, it may have made it a little confusing earlier in the video. I said that you cannot get the jump seat in here, which is correct. But if you order the interior upgrade package, that's going to give you, a full width console in the middle. So it's not the jump seat; it's a full width console. You get the cloth front and rear, you get the carpets, you get the floor mats. It kind of makes it more of a civilian style truck. So that's a good one to keep in mind. Admin units, drug task force, something like that, where you want the police truck, but there's a couple things you kind of need to adjust to make sure it's going to be usable for you. That's a good one to remember, and that is option 19A as an Adam. So 19A as an Adam. It's a $555 option, and again, that's going to give you the full width console, carpet, basically change it interior wise more into a civilian vehicle. The manual folding mirrors that are heated and have the turn signals in them, like you see on this truck, that's option 54R Robert, and that's approximately $370. If you want the large towing mirrors, again, water patrol, mounted patrol with a trailer, something like that, that is option 54Y is in yellow, and that's a $282 option. That's just going to give you the bigger, non-heated mirrors, but they're the bigger tow style mirrors. Passenger 8-way power seat. So again, if you're running two-man a lot and you want that better adjustability for the front passenger seat only, that's option 61P is in Paul, and that's a $273 option. The rear window fixed privacy glass with defroster, that is a really good option to take note of, because a lot of these trucks get ordered without privacy glass, which means there's no tint on them, and then we end up tinting them. So it's probably cheaper to order it from the factory with this, but the rear window fixed privacy glass with the defroster, that is option number 924, and that is $91. Okay, moving on to the rear wheel liners, basically. So as you can see right now in this one here, there's no liner back there, so all the rocks, mud, dirt, all that kind of crap's just kicking up under the box. If you want there to be a plastic liner there to prevent all that crap, then you need to order the 96L Lincoln for $164, and that's going to give you those there. The wireless key fobs, or fobs, I mean, they're all wireless, right? That was a stupid thing to say. You're going to get 4 fobs. That option number is 67P as in Paul, and those are going to run $319. What I would say is that is fairly expensive for some fobs. If you want remote start and better range, work with your upfitter and consider just going with an aftermarket option, because for that kind of money to get 4 basic Ford fobs that have bad range and basically lock and unlock the car, that's a little expensive. But again, that's your prerogative to make those decisions. There are key to like options for these. So if you're ordering a fleet of these and you want them key to like, there is a handful of key codes that you can order for this truck that are going to be consistent across all these trucks. Now, unfortunately, these key codes are not going to match your Interceptor utilities. They are different keys. The F150 obviously has like a key where they're cutting into the key, where versus like a PIU, they're cutting the outside of it. So it's kind of like almost an inverted key. And in that sense, you're not able to use them between the PIUs and the F150s. And that option, I'm not going to give you the codes. They're all 62 letters. Pick which one you want. They're all $46 roughly to, again, order a key to like. And then there are some other options that you can order for the spotlights. So you can, Ford gives us the option to, we can like this truck is done, you can do what they call the spotlight prep kit, same as the PIUs, where essentially they're just drilling it out and then the spotlight's getting put on by the upfitter. That's definitely an option. You can just order the spotlight right from the factory with either a wheel and bulb or a unity bulb, and you can do driver's side or passenger side. I'm not going to give you all the pricing on that stuff because it varies quite a bit, and it's really not that pertinent to what you guys are doing. I will say that these trucks are not that hard to drill through. There are vehicles that are a major pain, and we absolutely despise doing spotlights. The police interceptor utility being one of them. They're very, very difficult to drill through. These F-150s are not hard at all. So if you have any type of competent upfitter, they should be able to drill right through here and just put your spotlight in. But again, take for example, driver's side LED spotlight from Unity is only $368. We can't put it in for that cheap. So therefore, it might be a better option to have them put that in. But if you have a spotlight that you just want to reuse, or you have a custom application or something like that, then just look at those other options that are on there. The second row door controls being inoperable is a little deceiving because as you might have seen in the video kind of already, what Ford actually does is they just put in basically a big plastic form. I got my helper here. What do you think about that, huh? I know, it's pretty cool, isn't it? I know. I agree. They put in this basically plastic form door panel on here, and that's inoperating the window and the door handle and all that. It's not a horrible option. The code on this is going to be 17R, so 17 Robert, and it's $164. So for what you're getting, I would probably order that. It's not, it keeps it basically clean too. The only downside to this is they're putting push pins in all around here. There's a nut and bolt here, and there's something up here. I haven't taken one of these off, but I would venture to guess when you do get around to actually popping that off, you're going to have a bunch of holes in the back of there. But again, it's an option. So if you don't want that front console mounting plate, you can delete that. That's option 60, F as in Frank, and that's a no charge option. So they're not going to give you any money back for deleting that center console plate. But if for some reason you didn't want it, you didn't want to mess with it, you can delete it. I would personally keep it because a lot of times if you delete that out of there, you may not get the bolts that you need. There's bolts in here that are holding that plate in. But if you delete it and they don't give you those bolts, then you have to go source those bolts, and that can be a pain in the butt. And they're not giving you credit for it anyways. You might as well take it and scrap it for the 2 cents worth of scrap. It's probably worth it. So, other than that, the rest of the options on here are all dealer installed. I'm not going to go over that because that can vary widely between what dealers are comfortable with and what their offerings are. So that covers it for the optional items. Okay, so all things considered, this is an amazing police truck that is going to be very successful in the market. Obviously, I'm a little biased because I'm a Ford guy, and so I'm a little preferential towards this truck. But overall, the options that are being offered, as well as the room in the back seat, and just the overall style of the vehicle, you're not going to go wrong with this truck. So there's really only a handful of options to choose from anyways, but after going through all of this, looking at everything and just our experience with these trucks from doing hundreds of these over the years, and customer feedback and stuff, everyone's been really happy with these. For you guys that already have them, you probably know what I'm talking about. They're reliable, they're fast, they have a ton of room in them, and they handle really well. So that's not to knock the Chevy PPV Silverado or the Ram, which really isn't a contender because it's only an SSV package, not pursuit rated. Kind of often it's a different thing. But if I had to pick this over the Silverado, hands down every day of the week, especially now with the new really large display screen and that twin turbo V6 EcoBoost engine. This thing hauls ass. And combine that again with that big screen and some of the other upfitter options that they're adding to these now, hands down I would pick this over the Silverado PPV. But again, that's your choice. I hope you enjoyed this video. Gave you a little bit of clarity and information on this new truck just as they're starting to hit the streets. This is the first one in the state of Minnesota, and so far the only one that I've seen anywhere on the internet in the nation, so I'm sure they're just starting to get turned out here. So huge thanks to 1040 Ford in St. Cloud, Minnesota, the world's oldest Ford dealership, for letting us have a quick look at this truck. This is a customer's vehicle that will be coming back to us to get upfitted shortly here, so once this gets checked in and delivered and all that, we will be getting it right back and getting to upfitting on it. So make sure to watch us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see the pictures of that as soon as it's done. Thanks for watching, guys, and be safe.